Hello everyone, this is Supersnoopy here, back with another SWTOR Republic video. Today I have for you guys another SWTOR Republic discussion episode. In today's episode I'm going to be going over the PvP commendations and how they're going to be changing coming up and how they are just now in the game. So I hope you guys enjoy this SWTOR Republic discussion episode. As always, if you guys enjoy these videos, then make sure to leave a like. And if you guys want some nice gaming glasses, then check the links down below. No scope gaming glasses, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the discussion. Alright guys, so let's just go ahead and get into the SWTOR Republic discussion right now. So recently there was an interview that was done by one of these SWTOR Republic developers, and they were going over the PvP combinations and how they were going to change in patch 3.3. So yeah, obviously there's going to be a bunch of changes, and I just wanted to go over them with how they are right now and how it's going to overall change the whole entire aspect of the game. So what they plan on doing is just completely getting rid of the ranked accommodations and more or less just, I guess, making the current PvP sets a lot cheaper. Now, obviously, this is a bit different than what we originally have. I mean, right now, what we have is we originally have just the regular Warzone gear. Then, of course, we do have the ranked Warzone gear, which is obviously a huge, big price gap. Now, I mean, that isn't a big problem for the most part, mainly because I've actually never seen it as a big deal, more or less. But I always thought of it as, is that mainly because you have the Warzone combination gear, then you go directly up to the ranked. You know, it's no big deal, honestly. Like I said, I don't have too much of a problem with these changes, but obviously some players will have a problem with this. Mainly because, more or less, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of doing ranked. Mainly because you now just have only Warzone combinations. But at the same time, BioWare decided that they're going to change that up a bit, where you can get tokens to actually get the new tier rewards instead of just having it based on the rating system. Since people have said a lot of problems are with that actual rating system, I, for one, don't really do too much of, I say, ranked. I don't really do ranked at all right now, mainly because I'm a commando, and people do have problems with commandos. But once I get a team all together and I can actually find one, then I will for sure do ranked, since I really like PvP. I think that would be fun, but people had some problems with it, and BioWare is going to be changing it up a bit now. So, for right now, as you know, like I said, how it works is we currently have it so that in PvP you actually get the ranked Warzone accommodations from the dailies and whatnot, from just doing the regular ones. Then, of course, you have the just ranked from doing the ranked Warzone matches. And like I said, they just want to completely eliminate that, which is okay. And they also did mention, like I said, about the tokens. I think that would be a really cool step in development, just to see how it would work out. But this could cause some problems. Now, what I mean by problems is just the fact that if they don't completely get this right, and I know people will say that's just crazy talk, but if they don't get this completely right with the whole entire PvP aspect of the game, just changing the Warzone accommodations and whatnot, I think that would cause a lot of problems with players, considering the fact that they get all this ranked gear, and now it's kind of being handed off to players like it's nothing if the Warzone accommodation is right as it is. But at the same time, it does reward the players just because of the different tier rewards and how they're just completely working with that, which, in my eyes, it's no big deal. But at the same time, it can become something if this isn't handled correctly. So all I'm hoping for is that the fact that BioWare can manage to completely keep the PvP just the way it is, but at the same time change the Warzone combinations as they want to. And another thing that is very noteworthy that isn't part of the accommodations is that they're going to now have it so you actually have to have a certain amount of PvP gear before you can actually enter a entire Warzone in ranked, since it's really nice considering the fact that they even said themselves that there are trolls currently that just try to join with like no PvP gear, and then they just try to troll and mess with the team, just ruin it. Now, I mean, that won't totally eliminate it if you just have a bunch of trolls just totally messing with you and or not doing their healing job, damage, or tank. But I feel it does help a lot because it allows you to separate the core PvPers that have managed to get all the gear and are all set up, and then it just completely changes it for the casual players that haven't gotten all the gear yet, or the hardcore players that are just getting geared up, all set up, and it just totally eliminates the trolls for the most part. So yeah, there's that, of course. And they also said, I didn't really go into this in full detail, but they want to completely just deplete the whole entire idea of having a super expensive Warzone gear. And I mean, that's not a bad thing, because right now the Warzone gear is somewhat expensive. I mean, it's no big deal. I always thought of it as, since the start of the game, you do have to work really hard to get all that Warzone gear, but it does help you when you get level 60 and you have really cheap Warzone gear. And since the cap of the Warzone Commendations is going to be very huge now, and there's going to be no ranked, I think that it works out pretty well on our part, because we as players manage to get the level 6. We do actually get to get a ton of PvP gear. It's not a ton, but it's still something that can allow us to PvP right as we get to the start of level 60, and I feel like that helps a ton of the player base as a whole. But at the same time, like I said earlier in the video, is that there can be a lot of downfalls from this. People can have problems with this, which I'm all for. Obviously, if people do have problems with a system, then they should just talk about it and hopefully get to change, since we really don't want this to come down to a PvP match where it just completely becomes OP, or you can get through the whole entire PvP ranking system and whatnot in a single day, which that isn't going to likely happen, because if you know, in PvP, gear is just one of the things. It's the thing that determines you to allow you to do more damage overall. But if you can manage to play by your tactics as a certain DPS, tank, or healer, it won't be too much of a big deal, but it does help players at the same time, but can also cause some problems. So I mean, overall, the Warzone Commendations are no big deal as they are right now. But what I would recommend, if you're watching this before 3.3, is that you should definitely try to stock up on ranked Warzone Commendations and the regular, because they are going to be just changing the ranked and just completely converting them all the way to the regular. So that will be nice, and also allow you to get lockboxes that can just convert the Warzone Commendations from one character to another. So that also helps with leveling alts, and then once they hit 60, they can PvP. So that really does, it's a good idea as well. I mean, a lot of people have been asking for it, where they can just go ahead and just, you know, get an alt, quickly get them Warzone Commendations, and then be all good. Since I know that there was a tactic originally that was here where players would get a decoration, and then they would just trade it to the opposite account, and then they would have like 100 Warzone Commendations. So that was the tactic that people originally used if they wanted to overall just kind of get alts their gear. And now, since BioWare is acknowledging that they want to allow some alts to get gear, that's a plus. And also, it seems like they do want to help with the gearing process in PvP while trying to keep it as balanced as possible. It seems like they are really trying to go to the core problems. They are fixing them. And I think that's really nice, since you never see that too often. Sometimes developers in games will not really give a whole entire stance on that. And with this interview that you can, like I said, read in the description down below, it's really good. It does just show off that they really want to help the PvP aspect, and they have been listening to the player feedback. And yeah, I mean, that's really good, considering the fact that most developers won't even bother listening to that. They'll just try to do what they want, and I think it's a good approach at the same time. But you also have to think that how fast could it also fall apart? Because I mean, a lot of players are going to really enjoy how the Warzone Commendations are changing and everything, but people are going to get really irritated maybe later on. That might not happen, which I doubt it will actually happen, but you never know. With any MMO, people can really get irritated with certain problems that are arising in the game, and or just the lack of response by developers. So that's just something you have to be aware of, is that we should try our best as a community just to keep everything fine, just continue the feedback, since the PvP team seems like they are starting to notice some of the tactics and flaws in the current system. It seems like they're just trying to just dig them down, just figure out what they need to do as a actually as the whole entire PvP team, just trying to help the community as a whole, because I think that would overall just give us a sense that we know that they acknowledge that we're here and that we're trying our best to deal with the whole entire scheme of things, since they've said it themselves, is that they really want to improve it. And I think that's really nice, considering the fact that we're going to finally see some new updates in PvP, something that has been long awaited. So yeah, there's that. So I think that's just going to have to do it for this Star Wars discussion episode. I'm sorry if this episode seemed like it was just lengthy and repeating things over and over, but there wasn't too much to add about this. but at the same time, it's a lot of information that should be covered, considering the fact that people have been just waiting for this for quite a while, just to actually get all this new PvP info, just about how the whole entire Warzone Commendations is going to work, and how everything's just going to be overall nice for Star Wars Republic. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Star Wars Republic discussion episode, just me going over how the Warzone Commendations are going to work from now on. If you did, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.